All right, we are moving on to target C this week. However, let me just refresh your memory a little bit of what we did on target A and target B. Target A, don't forget that we look at graphs. We're talking about quadratic. So graphs that are in a U shape. And we talk about the domain, range, x-axis, y-axis, the axis of symmetry, the leading coefficient. Um, and that was all through target A. Target B was the introduction of polynomials. Again, what is polynomials? It's an equation that has three terms. As you can see, for example, question number 2 right here has three terms, x squared, negative 7x, and 12. They're all different. This one x squared, this one has an x by itself, and this one doesn't have a a variable. So that's why they're different terms. It's three terms. So those are called polynomials. We learn how to add them, how to subtract them, and we also know how to multiply them. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, remember when we had these, and we had to multiply them. Okay, you had to multiply the first number with each number in the second parentheses, and then the other number to the second parentheses, all of them. And at the end, you had to combine like terms, and at the end, you end up with a polynomial as an answer. Okay, target C is the opposite. Now they gave us the answer, and we need to figure out what two parentheses am I going to do to get my final answer like that. That is called factoring. So this was called FOIL. This is called factoring. Okay, we need to factor it out. We need to go backwards. So instead of multiplying it first, we have to go backwards and work our way back. Okay, so that's what we're doing for target C. All right, there's some rules to how to factor. Okay, the first rule is that we have to have x squared by itself. So if, for example, if you have 3x squared, that is not by itself. We have a 3. We need x squared to be by itself like that. That's the first rule, okay? The second rule is that we need the equation to equal to 0, okay? Once we have the equation equal to the 0, we are able to solve and factor it, okay? So I'm going to read the objective for target C. It says factor a quadratic expression and equation to reveal the zeros of the function it defines and interpret those in context. So we need to factor it, which means, again, we need to find the final answer of what two parentheses. What am I going to put in those two parentheses so I can get the final answer that they gave me? And then if they ask for the zeros, we need to give the zeros. And again, what are the zeros? Zeros are just the numbers that cross through the x-axis. As you remember, if I have a U shape, quadratic, we have 2 points that crosses through the x-axis, right? Well, those are called the zeros. Okay, so we are able to figure that out once we find out and factor it out. Okay, so that's what we're doing for target C. It is a little bit confusing, so please bear with me and please take notes. Okay, I'm only going to be doing one problem for each problem. So let's go. All right, first rule is that we have x squared by itself and we have to set it equal to 0. So x squared by itself and it has equal to 0. I am ready to go. Okay. In order for me to factor, here is what we need to find out. We need to find out the multiplying number and the addition number. So M means multiplication, A means addition. All right, the multiplication number will always be the last number, so the number that doesn't have a variable. And the addition number will be the number in the middle. Okay, so in this case it's positive 6, and remember we have to be careful with our positive or negative signs. This is a positive 6 and this is a positive 7. That means that my factors, okay, factors are the numbers I can multiply to get 6. What numbers am I going to multiply to get 6, okay? And I'm going to do all the options there is for 6 because that's what you're going to have to do for the next problems. Some of you guys are going to get this right away and you guys don't have to do this all the time. But if you're a beginner, I'm You just have to do all the numbers, all the factors of 6, and try it out, okay? So for example, the factors of 6, I know that 1 times 6 gives me 6, so that's good. Another factor of 6 is 2 times 3 gives me 6, okay? So I already figure out two numbers, 1 and 6, or, okay, 2 and 3, right? Because they multiply together, they equal 6. The next thing we have to do, and there's no more factors that give me 6, so that's why I stop right there, okay? The next thing I need to do is figure out one number, either 1 or 6 or 2 and 3, and we're going to add together to get 7. So 1 plus 6 gives me 7. Oops, I was supposed to put 7 there you go. So again, I put a check mark because it's true. It's 7. Or I could test the other one. 2 plus 3 gives me 5. And again, I need a positive 7 for addition. So I know that the numbers I'm going to use is going to be 1 and 6. Why? Because 1 times 6 gave me 6. And then 1 plus 6 gave me 7. So the numbers I'm using is 1 and 6. So again, my final answer, and again, it's 2 parentheses. Why is it going to be 2 parentheses all the time? Because of x squared. X times x gives me x squared, right? So that's why I need parentheses, and both of them have one variable of x. The numbers that you're going to include them is the numbers that you factor, that you figure out that multiply to 6 and multiply to 7. In this case, it was positive 1 and positive 6. So this is your final answer for your factoring, okay? If they ask you, can you give me the zeros? All you have to do is set each parenthesis equal to 0. And you're going to start noticing that it's just going to be the opposite. Okay, what do I mean with that? Let me just change my color. X plus 1 equal to 0. X plus 6 equal to 0. If I need x by itself, obviously I need to get rid of 1. So I will have to subtract 1 from both sides. So then that means x equals negative 1. And on this case, again, I'm going to have to get x by itself. So I'm going to subtract by 6. So x will be positive 6. So these are my zeros. That means that if I was to put this in a graph, my graph would cross the point of negative 1 and positive 6 on the x-axis. So again, this is my factor, my factorization. This is my answer for factoring. And these are my zeros. And again, it's just the opposite, okay? Opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. Opposite of positive 6 is, negative 6. I forgot my negative 6 in there. So it's just the opposite, okay? So that's how you figure it out right away. So you want to try question number 2. And again, send me pictures if you want me to check your answers. All right, let's move on to the next problems. I have question 3 and 4. They're about the same, just different numbers. Again, the two rules is that x squared has to be by itself and it has to equal 0. Okay, x by itself, but it equals 34. So I cannot solve it yet. I have to switch it. I need it to equal to 0. How do I get 0 on the other side of 34? Well, I need to get rid of that 34. How would I get rid of that 34? By subtracting it, right? Whatever you do to one side, you got to do it to the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to have x squared plus 15x minus 34 equals 0. All right, again, my rule says that x squared by itself and it has to equal to 0. So there you go. I'm good to go to the next step. What are my next steps? That I need to find my multiplication number, my m, and my a, my addition number. Again, multiplication number is a 1 at the end. In this case, is negative 34. And again, I told you to be careful with your negative and positives. So this one is negative 34. My addition is positive 15. Okay. My factors. Factors are the numbers that you're going to be multiplying. Okay. First off is that you need to find the numbers that you're going to multiply to that number. And then try it out if it's going to be for addition. It's going to be the same for addition. Okay, it's going to work. So the first thing is factoring, which means find the numbers that give you 34. All right, so again, I always like starting with 1. So 1 times 34. And again, I'm just doing all the numbers that I can think of for 34 because I want to write them all down and show you all the numbers and how it doesn't work for all of them. Okay, some of you guys are going to get the notes already, and you're going to start right away, and you're going to know right away what numbers to use. Obviously 1 and 34 will be not the perfect one, but I'll show you right now. So I know it's going to be 1 times 34. However, I need a negative 34, so one of them have to be a negative. Okay, so negative 1 times 34 becomes negative 34. Or you can have positive 1 times negative 34. I'm still going to get negative 34. So that's what I was looking for, right? All right, another factor of 34. 34 divided by, 2 times 17. So I can have negative 2 times positive 17. Or I could have positive 2 times 17. Okay, I could have either or because they both are going to give me negative 34. Okay, let's see. Does any number for 34? I think that is it. Yep, I think that's it. All right, those are the two factors that I found. It could be negative 1, 34. It could be positive 1 with negative 34. Or it could be negative 2 and 17. Or positive 2 and 17. So we'll see. Okay, we already figured out 34. The next thing is that we need to figure out the 15. Which of these is going to be added together to get 15? Well, here we go. I'm going to copy the same thing. Negative 1 plus 34 for the first one. Okay, that's the first option. Negative 1 plus 34 is going to give me 33. Okay, well, that's not it. What about the next one? Positive 1 plus negative 34. That's going to give me negative 33. So again, I figure out that 1 and 34, whether if it's negative or positive 1, it doesn't work. I need 17. Let's see if the other one works. All right, first option, this one right here, I have negative 2 plus 17. Negative 2 plus 17 gives me 15. And I forgot my negative right here. It was supposed to be negative 17. And then positive 2 plus negative 17 becomes negative 15. All right, remember I need a positive, not a negative. So that means that one that works is this option, option 1. Why? Because negative 2 times 17 gives me negative 34, and negative 2 plus 17 gives me positive 15. So my final answer, again, it will always have two parentheses because of the x squared. Both of them have one variable of x. And the numbers that I'm going to put in here are the numbers that I used to figure out 34, negative 34, and positive 15, which in this case was negative 2 plus 17. Those are my factoring numbers, my answer for factoring. If they ask you for the zeros, then this will be x equals positive 2 and x will be negative 17. Okay. So again, some of you guys are going to be able to identify those factors right away. Some of you guys are going to have to write them all down. And remember, you have to write all the options that you can because it matters once you add them. Okay, this could have been your only option or this could have been your only option. Doesn't matter, you have to write them all down to test all of them because working with negative and positive may be tricky, so be careful. All right, do number 4 and try it on your own. Try this one on your own. And of course, send me a picture if you want me to check your answers. All right, the last two problems, question 5 and 6, are one of the easiest, okay? We've been working with polynomials. However, if you notice, we only have two numbers in here. X squared, two terms. X squared and negative 25, okay? But we already know the rule of exponents based from last unit, remember? That in order for me to get rid of a square, I need to do the square root, right? This is the same thing. So I can do this if I get the number, right, to the other side, if I switch it to the other side. So in this one, I will have, oops, I will have x squared equals 25 because I switched the negative 25 to the other side. And when you do that, you do the opposite. So I'm going to add 25. That's how I got positive 25 on the other side. To get rid of the square, I'm going to do the square root. And again, what does the square root tell you? Hey, what number am I going to multiply by itself twice to get 25? Don't forget that 25, the square root of 25 is 5 times 5. So my answer for this is 5. Okay, for this one I can't factor. Why? Because I don't have a polynomial. I can only factor when we have a polynomial. But when we don't, we still are able to find out the zeros. And how do I know I can figure out the zeros? Because x squared means a quadratic function. Even though we don't have three numbers, a polynomial, if we are still talking about quadratic, if we graph this, we're still going to have a U shape, which means that we're still going to have a, we're still going to have the numbers that cross through the x-axis. And because we are talking about U-shape, when we do the square root, it's going to be positive and negative. It's going to be plus or minus. Okay, same thing for question number 6, so try it. And of course, send me a picture if you want me to check your answers.